Hello YouTube! Today on the Naughty Librarian, I am doing my January TBR list. Yay! It's 2020. It is a brand new year, a brand new decade. Holy potatoes. I picked a whole bunch of books. I think I'm kind of going pretty fantasy heavy this month. I feel like I have a spooky January on my hands. So we'll see how that goes. Yes, I am also sitting in this video. It's a different kind of perspective, mainly because my knee is still very injured. Yeah, it hasn't got a lot better since the accident so far. So I feel like this is going to be hurting for a while, which is very unfortunate. But hey, now I got sit-down videos. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot of more intro to do here. I just want to kind of talk about the books I'm going to be reading in January. I'm pretty pumped about a lot of them. A lot of these are going to be really good. I'm gonna start things off with my palate cleanser book for the month, which is An English Bride in Scotland by Lynsay Sands. This is part of that like Highlander romance series that I read one book of last year and I loved. It's just like campy, kilty, Scottish fun with a dash of smut. Well, more than a dash, it's like a helping of smut. So I wanted to go back to the beginning of this series. This is book 1 of that series. I think the book I read was book 4 or 5, so I'm gonna catch up. But there is a smutty tab. Let's see if it's, ooh, it's a smutty one, yay! The other one I read, it was just a picture of a castle. This time you have, no, they're gonna do it in a field in front of a castle, yes! So this is about Annabelle and Ross. Annabelle is an unusual heroine because she is literally about to become a nun. She's in a convent and her mom shows up and she's like, hey, we gotta go. You gotta marry this dude. And she's like, wait. Rewind. And she's like, your sister was betrothed to him. She ran off. You gotta marry this guy. So she goes to Scotland to marry this guy. I assume it works out. But that's an odd way to start a romance, but you know what? I'm just assuming this is just going to be full of kilt lifting and campy times around a loch, probably in Scotland and in fields and stuff, so I'm in. It's just going to be fun. Also on deck for January is The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski. I always think I'm mispronouncing his name, and it's unfortunate because I know it has a pronunciation, I just don't know what it is. So that's my fault, but I think it's Andrzej Sapkowski, and this is the book series for The Witcher, and yes, I did watch almost all of the episodes of The Witcher. I watched like 5 episodes, and then I stopped because I was with Leanna that night, and we watched 5 episodes, and then I haven't got to the last 3 yet, because I'm really bad at watching things, but I liked the show, so I'm interested in the books, essentially. So this is book 1 of the series. I believe this one is kind of told in a bit of a like short story format, so it's going to be a bunch of stories all about Geralt of Rivia, who is a witcher, so he's like mutant witch hunter guy. And he's gonna hunt monsters, and there's like a pretty sick dragon on the cover, so it's got that going for it at the very least. But yes, The Witcher, I've always been really fascinated with it. I've seen clips of the video game. I don't personally really like playing video games, so I've never played it, but it always seemed so freaking cool. So hey, I got the first book, I'm gonna try this one out. Also on deck is Into the Crooked Place by Alexandra Christo, and this was the ARC. It's already out. It came out in October 2019. Haven't read it yet, so now is the time, I guess. And this is a sophomore novel from Alexandra Christo, who wrote To Kill a Kingdom, which is like stabby Little Mermaid. So I do kind of want to see what she does in her sophomore release, because this one is kind of giving me it's like kind of a heist story, I'm thinking, because it seems like they're assembling a crew of ruffians and they gotta do crime stuff. So it's kind of giving me like Six of Crow vibes maybe, but I don't know. I'm so fascinated. I wanted to see where this author's talent is going to go, because I liked To Kill a Kingdom, their debut, and I liked it. I didn't love it, but I thought the writing was there. There's potential. So I want to see what happens in the next book to see if the writing gets better even. So this one is just full of potential for me. It's a heist story, and like, if you do it good, they're usually very good. But if you do it poorly, it's going to be really bad. Very rarely is a heist story ever just mediocre. You know what I mean? It's either going to be really good or it's going to be kind of bad. So we'll find out. But I have hope for the best here. I'm hoping that this one turns out pretty good. I am so excited to read The Last Argument of Kings by Joe Abercrombie. This is the final book of the First Law trilogy, and I have been really, really liking this series. The first book was very dark, and I had to take breaks while reading it. And then book 2 came along, and it was freaking hilarious. Still just as grimdark, but it was just funny. So I'm really like interested in what's going to happen in book 3, because it's all the old gang coming back, and it's kind of going to be getting to the point of everything. Because as much as I like the first 2 books of the series, for the life of me, I can't tell you what the plot is, because it's a lot of different things all happening to different characters at the same time, but none of it has like meaning to each other yet. I don't really know what the exact like story arc is, because there's so many different stories going on at the same time. So I don't know, maybe it's kind of like a Game of Thrones thing, because it's kind of like difficult to tell what the plot of Game of Thrones is, because there's so many different plots going on all at the same time. I don't know, maybe I just blew my own mind right now. Anyway, Last Argument of Kings is the conclusion to the First Law trilogy, and I am so pumped to read it. I want some more Glotka being like sassy. He's just a sassy guy who has been obviously tortured, and his body is just crippled now, and he's just a sassy mofo, and I just want more of that sass like in my life, in my general vicinity. So I'm pretty pumped to be reading this one. I'm really excited to see where it all goes. Also on deck is The Wolf by Leo Carew, and I got this just because it was recommended to me very highly, and honestly, I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, because I feel like it could also be very, very, very slow, and I might get like, ugh, about it, but I'm hoping for the best, because I also thought, you know, maybe Joe Abercrombie was going to be very slow, and it ended up not being so slow. So I don't know, I feel like it's definitely going to be grimdark, it's going to be kind of a war story, but I have heard good things about it, so I'm definitely interested in reading this one. It's basically, there's the North, and then there's the South, and there are 2 people who live on this continent, and they don't really intermingle a lot, and then the South picks a war with the North, and then shit goes down, so it's a war story. But, I don't know, I'm excited to read this one. It's so, like, I like the cover, basically. It's, like, minimal and, like, kind of fantasy-driven, and, like, I don't know. It's kind of a cover buy at this point, but it was also recommended highly, and I am super fascinated in reading this one. Here's some more fantasy on my list. I have Fireborne by Rosaria Munda. And this one, it's got motherfucking dragons, yo. Like, what else do I need to say? It's got dragons. It's on the cover. Dragons. It's this world, and there's dragon riders in it, and I guess there was this, like, brutal revolution in the past, and they kind of put these 2 kids together as orphans who were both on different sides of the revolution, and now they're best friends. And then, you know, maybe shit's getting fucked up again in this revolution, and it's gonna be the opposite of the revolution, and like, where do these people stand? Are they just gonna be dragon riders, or are they gonna be on opposite sides again? Who knows? But mainly the drawing point here is dragons. So, I mean, usually if you just say, oh, here's a book, there's a dragon in it, I'd be like, okay, tell me no more. I want to read it. So, dragons, political conflict, but I'm leaning heavy on the dragon aspect here, but I'm pretty pumped about reading this one. Also on deck is A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. This one was really recommended to me by one of my subscribers because I was getting through like a horror phase. I really wanted to read a lot of spooky books. So I looked this one up and I was like, oh, that looks kind of good. It kind of gives me the Exorcism of Emily Rose type of vibes here. It's kind of about a girl who is getting an exorcism and things go wrong during it. But just exorcism alone is enough to make it a scary book. So I really want to read it. I think it's going to be more psychological horror, more so than actual demons, I'm assuming. But yeah, it seems legit really scary, and I was like, yes, give me all the scares. So I went to my library and I picked up a copy because I was like, I want something scary. Like, usually I don't go out of my way for horror books, but when I do read a horror novel, usually I really, really like them. So yeah, Head Full of Ghosts, Paul Tremblay, Exorcism Gone Wrong. I'm in. I'm so excited for this one. And it's from the library, so I'm also helping my local library. I'll mix things up with a little bit of sci-fi here, which is Velocity Weapon by Megan E. O'Keefe. And also, this has been recommended to me by some of my close friends. I kind of want to try more sci-fi, because in general, I'm much more of a magic over technology kind of person. But I do want to try more sci-fi, like good sci-fi, because there's a lot of like existential dread sci-fi that I don't get into, but I think this one is going to be more of the fun variety. And it's kind of about this woman who was in a war. She goes into her escape pod in like cryo sleep, I'm assuming, and she's like, all right, rescue crews will pick me up in a few days and everything's gonna be good. And it doesn't, because she wakes up 230 years in the future aboard an abandoned spaceship. So there's that. And honestly, it's giving me kind of like 2001: A Space Odyssey vibes, or maybe like Event Horizon. I feel like this ship is going to be scary. There's something rotten in the state of Denmark of space. So, yeah, it's been highly recommended to me. It's got a really cool premise, and I want to try more sci-fi. So I'm pretty excited about reading this one. I'm going to start off 2020 actually accomplishing part of my goal for 2020, which is to read more sci-fi. So I'm killing it here. Also on deck for January is The Bear and the Nightingale by Katherine Arden. And I picked this one up mainly because it just feels cold. Like, it feels like a winter book, because there's snow on the cover, honestly. But it just feels like a snowy winter book, but it doesn't feel Christmassy. You know what I mean? It feels just winter. So I'm like, ooh, you know what? January's pretty cold, and it's after Christmas. So I can read this, and it's not like anything around holidays. So I feel like it's the perfect time to read it. Because I almost read it in December, but I was just like, I don't feel holidays in this. I just feel cold. So you got pushed to January. This one's kind of a like Russian fairy tale feeling kind of story. It's about Vasilisa, and she honors these little house spirits, and then her dad marries this new lady who's like a bitch, and she's like, stop fucking with the spirits, and she's like, all right, and then the spirits get all uppity, I'm assuming. So it's gonna be like fairy tale fantasy elements, like woodland sprites, I don't know, but it's like kind of Russian fairy tale inspired. It's cold, it's snowy in the book, perfect for winter. Well, California winter, it gets cold. It got to like 37 degrees the other night. Like, that's cold. It gets cold here. But yes, it's perfect for January, where it's not holiday related, because this is gonna be like spirits and stuff, but I'm pretty excited to read this one. Also on deck for January is The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. And it's another Fae-inspired story. It's also the end of the Folk of the Air trilogy. And I'm so scared to read it, because I don't know what to expect out of the ending of this series that I've loved intensely. So I'm like, what's gonna happen? Like, I'm so nervous to read it. But like, I feel like I just need to like, rip the Band-Aid off. Just, okay, you're nervous, just freaking read it and you won't be nervous anymore. So I'm just gonna do that. Like, part of me like is scared to do it, and I don't want to wait, but I need to be a big girl. It's 2020. I'm a big girl now. I gotta read the book I'm scared of. So this is the end of the series. It's kind of hard to explain. There's Jude and Carden, who have a toxic relationship that you just love. Like, I root for them so hard. Usually I don't want to root for toxic relationships, but like, it's equally toxic on both sides, so it kind of evens out. It's just like their thing, And I love Jude. She's one of my favorite heroines. She is Slytherin AF. Love all of it. Like, the writing in here is just gorgeous. I loved all of it. So it's the big finale. I'm gonna rip the Band-Aid off and just read it. I'm scared because I don't know what's gonna happen, if it's gonna satisfy me or not. I'm just gonna do it. It's happening in January. Last on my list, a little bit more sci-fi, is Dark Age by Pierce Brown. Now, this is a continuation of the Red Rising series, which is one of my all-time favorite series of books. It's legit gorgeous. I recommend it to a lot of people. It's a space opera. I don't know, it's like Game of Thrones in space. It's great. I love it so intensely. It's so good. And this is the most recent book. It is thick. Oh my gosh. How thick are you? Okay, it's deceptively thick. It's like 757 pages. So that's thick. Genuinely, this is a really long ass book. But I need to read it. It came out over summer, and I was gonna read it immediately, and then I kept pushing it off because I'm like scared of it for some reason. Like, this is like the theme for January, I guess. It's like reading books I'm a little scared of. So I kept pushing this off, and then I was just like, why haven't I freaking read this? So I'm going to read it now, because I'm a monster and I put it off for so long. I'm gonna read it. It's, you know, it's hard to explain because this is like, the original trilogy happened and now they're doing like a new series like 10 years after the events of the first series. There's a lot of history to go through to try to get to the point here. So I'm just gonna say it's a sci-fi space opera, and we're following Darrow on his quest to conquer the galaxy into equality, I guess. And bad decisions ensue sometimes, but it's a space opera. It's great, and a lot of characters were left in very precarious situations at the end of Iron Gold, which was the precursor to this one. So I am excited to see what's going to happen. But these books rip my soul out because they're so intense, and there's character deaths, and it hurts. So like, I'm just like emotionally preparing myself for this because there's a lot I need to like psych myself up for. But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. This is 2020. It's happening. Okay, so those are the books I have on deck for now in January, subject to change. Also, by the way, in January, I am co-hosting the Get Shit Done Readathon. I will put a link to my video that gives you all of the guidelines for that. But honestly, the guidelines are just that. They are guidelines. They're not rules or things you have to do to participate in the readathon. It's literally just get shit done. Read whatever the F you want. You know what I mean? And we did give prompts to help you select books if you're having a hard time selecting books, but it's really up to you, whatever you feel like getting done. And like I said, the whole point is to get things done. So a lot of the books on this list for me are books that I've been meaning to read, or I'm scared to read, or things that I'm like, I don't know how to feel about yet. So I'm just forcing myself to read them. You know, books I'm scared of, I'm gonna get that shit done. A lot of things I've been putting off, gonna get that shit done. So I feel like it kind of fits the prompts in my own way. Let me know in a comment down below, have you read any of these books? And if so, did you love them? Because a lot of these are like finale books. So, I don't know. I'm okay with spoilers, but I know not everyone is, so don't put spoilers in the comments, but just be like, I liked it, you'll like it, wink, you know? Just use your judgment for spoilers. But yeah, a lot of these are finales, so let me know if you've read the finale. Were you satisfied with it? Or are you participating in the Get Shit Done Readathon? What shit are you gonna get done? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you wanna see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye!